Welcome to the 26th episode of Born in Trouble. I'm your host, John X. Bringing you the greatest in man. Well, what just dropped? Anyway, just like a man, I dropped the ball right away. Bringing you the best in black man conversation and entertainment. With your boy, Mr. Brooks, with the good looks from New Jersey,
what
Pennsylvania,
up?
Robert Brooks.
Hello, John.
Hello,
Grant. What's going on, brother?
Hola.
Good evening.
Hola.
Good evening, my brothers. And of course, fresh off of a trip from Long Island where he had the best turkey that was made this Thanksgiving. That's right. The best turkey that was
Absolutely.
made this Thanksgiving. The City Wing King, owner and home from Detroit, Michigan, home of City Wings.
2896 West Grand Boulevard, Detroit, Michigan. Come down and get you some.
Not turkey, but wings. Mr. Grant Lancaster.
Hey, wow. What up, dog?
What up, dog?
How you living?
You know, it was good seeing you this Thanksgiving, Grant, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was long overdue.
You know?
Long overdue.
It was nice, you know, Thanksgiving's the day. Everyone knows what that day it represents. You know, the day that they came and they killed all the Indians with smallpox and stole all their turkeys and ate them. And, you know, so we have a tradition of getting together and having turkeys. And, you know, of course, on that day is when you send out your text messages to your friends and family, let them know how everybody's doing and wish them happy Thanksgiving. And all my text messages were good except for the one that came from Rob, who not only said that I couldn't make a turkey, but said that I didn't cook my turkey and said I was trying to take credit for someone else making my turkey. Rob, what do you have to say about that?
I stand by my words.
Fucker.
You know, you ain't above it. You ain't above it.
Fucking guy. And that's why the show is...
There's a very good chance that at some point somewhere in the past that you fucked for food.
Well, I mean, come on, bro.
Wow.
Listen, man.
Oh, wow.
Look at this panel.
Wow.
Look at this panel.
That escalated
bro.
quickly.
Everybody on this panel, it's pretty safe to say, has fucked for food. Okay? Don't give me that shit. Grant and I, like, you know, when we were 17, 18 years old, we were at school. We were hungry freshmen. What did we do?
Yes, sir.
We went to
That was college life.
That was college life. You fuck for food. Rob, I know you. You was broke, bro. And I met your girl. I'm not going to shout her out. I'm not going to shout her out because she deserves better. Because she was a great cook. A great cook. And you, Robert, were fucking for food. Don't give me that shit. See, this is why I'm always on about Rob, because Rob is the problem with the world. Everybody says one thing, and they want to do another thing. You know, like Rob, that was a great quote that we put out there as a snippet last week about everybody wanting to be a dad, mom, a girl dad, until it's time to be a girl dad. Well, everybody wants to accuse you of fucking for food until they've also been caught fucking for food. So...
I feel bad because the people have no context for this, but so a friend of mine sent me a photo, and first he sent me a text saying, "Hey, bro, my girlfriend's been working really hard in the kitchen today to get this turkey ready," and then sent that photo of this probably 70-something-year-old white woman taking a bird out of the oven, buck naked.
You're just wrong, Croc.
So later on in the afternoon, when John bragged about the bird that he had made, I said, just, you know, credit the true author of that bird, and sent that photo along. And as you can tell, it got a little under his skin there.
A little under his skin.
Yeah, he a little offended.
The only thing that was getting under my skin, or actually my turkey skin on Thanksgiving, was the flavors. The flavors, bro. The flavors.
That like the vapors?
No, it's not like the vapors. It's like the flavors, bro. It's like the flavors. But listen, like, that holiday is, it's definitely doesn't mean what we thought it always meant when we were kids. And, we've grown up to a different appreciation of the holiday now, at least I have, where it's more about spending time with your family and things that go along with that. Reconnecting if you can reconnect, or maybe just ghosting people if that's how you want to let them know that you feel about them on that day and everything. Hey, listen, we got to cover everybody that listens to the show, all the possibilities. So, I had a good one, and we move on. The only person I think who probably had a bad Thanksgiving, I'm not sure he had a bad Thanksgiving, is Puff. And a week later, people are still talking about Puff and what happened there. Oh yeah, I just remembered the joke. The funniest thing, somebody called him the P. Diddler.
The P. Diddler.
The P. Diddler. Just completely wrong. Completely wrong. But, while we were all distracted by that, we were talking about what was going on in the world. And honestly, most of these people who are in these situations of power, they have insurance, lawsuit insurance. You think something like that is going to kick in for Puff in this situation to help pay that off?
That would be a no.
That would be a no.
Lawsuit insurance.
That would be a no. He may well have lawsuit insurance, but this is a hole he done dug all on his own, and I'm sure that his insurance company right now, like everybody else, is running for the hills, trying to get as far away as possible so they're not near the blast zone.
Yeah, apparently they made him, he resigned from Revolt today.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting because he had made an announcement a couple of days ago that he's got a network where he's going to go out and he's going to fight these allegations on that network. And I guess the financial backers said, I don't think you're going to.
No, you're not going to do that, Holmes. That's not what this is about. This isn't Truth Social. You're not gonna sit here and wage war against the American people.
Well, that was the plan. It seems like the plan is kaput quick. So
the plan should be to disappear for a little while, and then the only way for him to get out of this alive and with his good name intact. And this, some people will say, well, obviously he's giving up his good name in the process, but the only way for him to keep his good name intact, or some semblance of that intact, is for him to disappear for a little while and then come back and say that he's done, hours and hours of therapy and he's dug deep into himself, and, he's finally uncovered some truth that he was uncomfortable with, and whether he says that he's bi or he's gay. That's the only way out for this brother. That's the only way he gets out of this. Anything else is going to come up sounding like BS, and he going to get skinned for it.
Well, the way I look at it, it's it's still, who cares? Honestly, I saw somebody, I've seen people jump up and down and be really quick to jump to judgment on this and everything. And I have to be careful. Because, I do know them from back in the day. I don't know them that well. So people might say, you're just trying to cover something up. No, the butt's still a virgin. Just in case you're wondering, nothing like that has ever transpired in my booty hole or around it or whatever. I've never slept with any of Puff's girlfriends or any of that other stuff. Nobody, it's ridiculous. But to me, what has been interesting is the amount of people that are overjoyed at his downfall. Why do you think that is? Right or wrong?
Well, I mean, he was not humble in his success. Like, he was anything but humble in his success. And at times he was downright arrogant about it. And so I think that, when people with that attitude have a fall, there's lots of people around who have been, probably counting the days hoping for an event like this.
Yeah.
I don't think that they thought they were going to get this big a gift, but they're hoping. Like, there was nothing humble about that dude when he was on top.
Right. But this is the natural condition of us, though. So just to give an example, there was a poll. If you had a choice of two jobs, one job paid $100,000 and everybody else made $200,000. One job paid $50,000, everybody else made $25,000. More than half the people took the $50,000 because they wanted to be doing better. They want to see somebody doing worse than them. Yeah. And Puff has been doing better than everybody for a long time.
For a very long time.
That kind of just natural disdain for somebody, not that you dislike them, but you just want to see him get knocked down a peg, or two, or 1,000 in this case. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's what that's all about more than anything. I mean, because Puff, if you haven't had any interaction with Puff, you don't have anything against him.
You shouldn't
necessarily, other than the fact that he's an arrogant dude.
Yeah, he is. We've all seen that at different times, but look, it just strikes me as just weird that so many people root for the downfall of others today more than we actually root for the uplifting of people and the uplifting of our own.
You think that's a recent phenomenon, or you think that's been going on throughout?
I think that misery loves company. And I think that what we're experiencing right now, and it was something that we saw over the past 4 years with, even before that, when Donald Trump became president, a lot of that was because people perceived that minorities or certain minorities were doing better than them. It didn't have to be all of them. All it had to be is be one. The one guy that you saw walking down the street and everything, and that's enough to set him off. Then, oh my God, they're everywhere and everything. Could just be the one guy at the fair going to get the thing, but it's like, oh my God, now everybody's doing it. I think it's been more and more people have been suffering and struggling, and they've been very quiet about it, and I think it's all coming to a head right now. I was watching something on TikTok today, and it was another woman that was talking about how hard it is for her to give groceries or pay for groceries for her family right now, and how every month how she's not going down all at once, but it's a slow drip of water on a rock. And she was asking if other people were experiencing that, if other people were actually experiencing that type of lifestyle right now. And the numbers would tell you that, yes, more people are, but we are not seeing them come out and admit it because we live in the social media era where everyone has to be living their best life. So the opposite of that is keeping everything a secret. And before you can fix a problem, you have to do what first? Identify it.
Identify it, right.
Identify it. Discuss it in detail. People are not willing to discuss their pain. They're only willing to discuss other people's pain. But
what's one of the primary rules of the society, though? We don't discuss money. It's considered rude to discuss money. And so that creates a culture of secrecy. Like, you're not supposed to know what the person next to you has, and they're not, So nobody's going to talk about money, and then especially nobody's going to talk about them being busted, even though, you know where you live, you know what the housing stock is like, you know what people have generally. Just looking around your neighborhood, you know what people got or don't have. Right. But nobody's gonna cop to it, though.
Is a population in peril that's incapable of asking for help.
Absolutely. Trump don't want the help. Trump don't get the help.
Squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? So while we're
True.
So while we're going through this distraction of what's going on in Puffy's bedroom for years and years and years ago, they go ahead and they snuck that. What was that you were talking about, Grant? The voting rights.
The voting rights bill. I had it. I can't remember exactly what it was. It was
the circuit court ruled that only the federal government can sue about certain elements of it.
There you go. Yeah.
And so if you get,
that's it.
Say that you get a Republican government, they may decide that they're not going to take up that cause. And so, the Republicans can go and gerrymander their way to more seats in the House and, keep us from being represented.
We're already not represented. So what's the difference? Well, the difference is in how they can apply the dollars even more so.
The difference is that they're then empowered to go and create even more divisions and more ways to keep us, to make us even less empowered.
There was an argument the other day online about democracy and what type of democracy we actually live in. And, someone was talking about capitalism and saying that the people that hate capitalism the most, this was on Friday, are the ones that are out shopping right now. And my whole thing was that, communists want to get deals too. They want to save money too. Everybody wants to,
right.
That's like a ridiculous thing to think about. Just because you feel a certain way, you aren't going to, you'd rather spend all of your money. That's just like, it's stupid. It's counter to self-preservation per se. Okay. But the point of it being is that in this type of democracy in which we live, we're watching like, we're actually watching the culmination of like 100-year plan. And I think it's like really wild that people are not awake for it. See, and when I say 100-year plan, this is a 100-year plan for the systems and the governments that we have been oppressed by, underneath, forced to integrate into or work within or without, the system that we live in here. Okay? It's got nothing to do with black people, quote unquote, per se, because we're not the architects of this. Unless you want to include, who's that guy, J. Edgar Hoover. And he's not admitting, he's passing. So, none of these things, none of these systems have we actually been the architects of or had any type of planning or any type of say in how it's actually going. And when we look at this, what's going on in Israel and everything, this is exactly what they did in Africa. It's what they did in other countries. I guess nobody just wants Iraq. Nobody might not, seems like nobody wants Iraq. The only thing they want from Iraq is the oil, or else they would have taken that land over as well. It's very easy. They bombed the shit out of it, took all the power away from those people. And the messaging is such that you can't discuss it. And anyone who discusses anything about that's going on that shows the structure of what's actually going on automatically gets X'd. I saw something online the other day. I went into a rabbit hole and I was looking for a group, and in regards to what I just discussed about what type of democracy we have, and there was a group in this group, it was you had to be invited to the group or you had to make a request to join the group, and the sole purpose of the group was to point out people online on Facebook who have a quote-unquote distorted point of view of what democracy and a free market is, because they identify one or two things that doesn't fit in the definition, and therefore they're distorting the way that people are perceiving democracy. And that whole group was about reporting those people. And anyone who discusses anything about that's going on that shows the structure of what's actually going on automatically gets X'd. And the messaging is such that you can't discuss it. Unless you want to include, who's that guy, J. Edgar Hoover. And he's not admitting, he's passing. So, These are the types of fascist organizations that have sprung up all around the internet on all these different platforms to stop people from having conversations. All I want to do is have a conversation about shit. We're not allowed to talk about this. I don't know.
You can't talk because somebody's going to feel some kind of way.
They're going to shut it.
You're not allowed to make people feel some kind of way. People are going to feel uncomfortable.
Well,
they're going to feel like you're shaming them, you're guilting them, whatever the thing is.
I mean, isn't most of our entire lives discomfort? You know, the reason why I say it's a 100-year plan, it's like when you sit here and you watch these videos online and they have these Zionists that were talking in 1920 about taking over a land and giving it to these people and what the culmination of the plan would be and what it would mean for the rest of the world. And then it actually has come true in like 2023. It's like, whoa, you know, and we plan for what's going on Friday night. These motherfuckers been going generation. That's Peepaw, Grandpa, son, and now the other one, like, carrying that over and carrying that through. You know, it's not really a question. It's not really a question. It's more of a statement. You know, I'm watching, Leora Cohen the other day on the morning show discuss rap music and discuss, and Charlamagne the God asked him, why do you only just like put gangster rappers out there? And he point blank goes, well, because I have people to feed. I've got mouths to feed.
That was very weak sauce by Leora Cohen.
I've got mouths to feed. Isn't that the justification for every evil done in the world?
Well, I mean, it can be used as the justification for every evil in the world, and many people have used it, but it's not a good one. You had mouths to feed, so you put other lives in jeopardy.
That's pretty much
that's selfish shit.
That's pretty much the world. It's choose your tribe.
Yeah, there's a selfishness that has the whole kind of community think has gone away from us. We no longer consider the community. We consider our immediate first, where it used to be for the greater good. Now the greater good doesn't mean anything anymore.
The greater good only means what's good for your particular group. If it's Latinos,
right?
If it's however,
a lot of times it's even more narrowly focused than that. A lot of times it's my pockets.
Yeah,
my pockets, my people's pockets, and my people are the people I can reach out and touch. They're not talking about a global, Latinos. They're not talking about the black community. We're talking about the 6 motherfuckers who live in this house right here and the 2 above us.
Right. Is that wrong at this point? We go from an age of, and I saw who's that brother Umar talking about how integration. Someone said something about integration, and he was picking that apart. He was like, integration isn't something that they did. All they did was drop the lines of segregation, and then we walked over. And that's something that we had covered before when we were talking about Alexander. When Alexander came on the show, and he was discussing, my family, my distant cousin family had a restaurant in the South during segregation, and when desegregation came along, the black people didn't go and eat there anymore. They only wanted to go where they could go and eat with white people. And, that's the beginning of the breaking down. You can say the same thing about Women's Lib. We were talking about Women's Lib the other day, and it was so crazy. I saw a feminist on TikTok who said, You know, the best way, people are going to kill me for this, but the best way for for a woman to be strong is with a man. Because if the man is feeding energy into me, then I can feed all my energy into the children. But if we're split off and we're on a different path and he's not there, then my energy has to go this way, and it's not the way that we're supposed to be building families. And it's not. You know, but who's benefiting from all this?
The people who own everything, the people who employ people, the Waltons of the world, the Rothschilds of the world, you know, the Bezos of the world. Those are the people that benefit. I mean, it's funny how all of this feminism came in when, like, right after all the men went to war and they had to put all the women to work. That's when all the feminism came in, but the men were gone. Mm-hmm. Right. So there were no men. Like, there feminism is in my mind, feminism is just kind of an abstract thing. You know, equal pay. When you start talking about equal pay is equal. You know what I mean? In most cases, it's just, what are you really asking for? Right. If you asking for the power, that's one thing. If you asking for the money, that's something different.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it just seems like it's a confused issue. Like there's a lot of things rolled up in there to make an issue into one thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think the guys were pretty shitty to women for a lot of years, and they got out and they got to, you know, while we were all at war, while our grandfathers were at war, they got to run shit a little bit and were like, you know, this ain't bad. Like, ain't nobody slapping us around. You know,
right.
We can decide what we're going to do with our funds.
But here's the thing. Men weren't just shitty to women. Men were shitty to other men too.
Oh yeah.
Right. So there's no like, women don't have a monopoly like that. When you start talking about stuff like this, you're talking about a finite number of people. You know what I mean? You're talking about, you know, 100,000 people that kind of run the country. You know what I mean? Or whatever that number happens to be. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? The people that make the decisions, the people that own the color blue, in the words of Chris Rock. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Those people that make the fucking decisions, they done held everybody down. It ain't just women that's been held down, mm-hmm. but survival just kind of demands certain shit. You know, big bank take little bank. Strong take from the weak. Mm-hmm. That's just kind of how it works, particularly when you're in survival mode, which is where most of us have been for the longest time. Right. So it's not that I don't think that it's everybody's holding people down or women down or all people down, but just that group of people.
Well, it's all commiserate to whatever is going on in your life. You know, honestly, you know, if you feel like you're actually a victim, to me, I've been watching, I was watching some old stuff the other day. Everything is like, basically it's based upon what's going on in my head at this point in time. And I was watching something, and it was a television show, and this person that was on the show, it was in the 80s, 70s, 80s, whatever. Person was obviously, you know, gay, you know, and they were obviously holding a position of power. And no one was actually in there like saying like, this person is like, this is terrible, or it's awful, or like, you know, like scratching themselves because they're next to this person. It's just the way it was. People just accepted these things. Now, of course, there were corners of the world where, you know, there's extreme machoism, and you wouldn't want to get caught in that area if you're one of those particular people. But that's pretty much for everyone. I'm a black person. I don't want to get caught out in, let's just say, St. James, you know, walking at 2:00 in the morning. What could possibly happen?
Oh, right. You'll get a free ride to the police station, if nothing else.
That would probably
that would be if you're lucky.
That would be one of the better outcomes.
Yeah.
It would be one of the better outcomes in most cases. Everybody faces something. It just seems to me like they've taken all these little micro aggressions that weren't actually anything and turned them into big things in order to give people identities and to split them up. Some of our people had to pass in order to make it up the ladder. Like there was no route for somebody who was brown to advance, right? A lot of those people who were gay, whatever, they couldn't be their natural selves in public. They had to get a beard, they had to. So yeah, while nobody was calling them out or saying anything, they still couldn't live their full life. They still couldn't, like, as a heterosexual, you walk around, you talk about pussy, you see a woman, blah, blah, blah. You're just doing your thing. You're living your life. But if you're a gay male, like, you got to act like you like pussy. You got to act like, when everybody's talking that shit in the gym, you got to talk that shit too. And so I don't know if that was necessarily right. Like, so yeah, they weren't outwardly calling them. So yeah, they were creating these other divisions have been created, but we were probably putting too much weight on those divisions already. Like they were already there.
Exactly.
Well, you want to be a part of these worlds. This is what it entails. It entails for these people to be a little bit more misogynistic, but also, you go around the corner and there's a club there and there's another guy that's winking. It's like, hey, I see exactly what you are. And then now these guys are making deals. There's a lot of people that feel that there's a gay mafia out there in the world and they're taking hits on people. And they're also uplifting people based upon what they feel like that person's value is to their movement and their belief system. But to me, it just seems like it doesn't really... The reason why I bring all this up, it's not to attack any one group whatsoever. Black Lives Matter, a group that was funded mainly by others and everything, they're getting backlash because if they're not... openly supporting those people who financed them in the beginning. That's not how it actually works, though. If you believe in my cause, you believe in my cause. I don't have to actually back everything that you do. The same thing, you could go out and you could rape a woman, and, then I got to come back and say, well, it's okay with me that you raped that woman because of the fact that you gave me money at another date. And that's essentially what the world has come down to. We're not even pretending anymore like the in-between even matters. The only thing that matters is the finance that's passed from hand to hand. And if you don't fall in line, you're not going to get any more of that finance. That's your lesson. And that's your message. Everybody's getting attacked. Everyone is getting attacked. And at this point in time, it's like, I'm even feeling bad for Candace Owens to a certain extent.
Why?
Well, I mean, look, she came out and I actually watched the interview where she changed the guy, I forget the man who changed her point of view, but
see, that's just about appropriate. My man was about to defend Candace Owens and the thing. Bite your tongue, Negro.
Bro. It was a conversation with a Jewish gentleman, and he was discussing how he doesn't agree with what's going on with Israel and Palestine, and how a lot of people don't agree with that. And he asked her point blank. He was like, "Look, you have a child. How would you feel if your child was stillborn and you put into an incubator and they came and they plowed over the hospital?" It's very harsh. That thought process and that statement is a very harsh statement, but these are things that are happening that you can't discuss and everything. That's a humanitarian issue. That's nothing to do with what you back it and what you feel and what you don't feel. But if you talk about it, you're going to be punished. It's going to cost you money if you talk about it. And that to me is like a terrible thing. It's like none of this is clean. and everything. I don't understand how I have a desire right now, honestly. I have a desire to cut off so many people from outside of my life just because of the fact that what this whole situation and the points of view on this situation to me are so reprehensible that I can't really justify. I can't justify, like, you know, even talking to these people any longer. Like, honestly speaking, you have to draw a line somewhere and everything, and that's like it's kind of where I am with certain people that feel this way. I feel this way about everybody, yo. It's about everybody. If they were shooting Mexicans, like, you know, crossing over the border and everything, I would feel that way about those people that cheer that on. You know, it's just the inhumanity. The inhumanity that we're experiencing at this point in time, and we're given Puffy to distract us from this inhumanity that's going on in the world. It's not just in Israel and Palestine. There's stuff going on in Africa. There's stuff going on in the Ukraine. There's stuff going on in South America. There's stuff going on all over the world. But all of it is coming to the same conclusion, which is little guy, little fish, big fish eat little fish. Like you said earlier, Grant, big fish eat little fish.
But isn't this just kind of what you're talking about when you're talking about you cutting people off or whatever? Isn't that just the natural as you age up? You know, assuming that the maturity comes with it. You know, there's as a young person, you are less concerned about the world. As you get older, you become more concerned with the world. So you have a better ability to empathize with other people. But even at that, as you get older, your circle naturally becomes smaller. You know what I mean? You lose touch with people. You know, people move on, people pass on, blah, blah, blah. Eventually, your circle just naturally becomes smaller.
Well, now with Facebook.
And it's right. Well, yeah. I mean, you know, with Facebook, we all have 2,000 friends.
Instagram.
But right. But if that's just the natural progression, you know what I mean? Like I don't see anything wrong with it. You know what I mean? My circle has gotten smaller too.
Well, here's the thing. Like, we're doing a podcast, right? And the one thing about us and everything, all of us, is that when we do things, we try to do it like, well, when I make a turkey, I try to make it the most tasty turkey that you're ever going to have by your tonsils. If you know,
right.
Rob was doing a production for his I remember when you were doing your jazz show, you were trying to do it the best way possible. Grant, you make the best chicken wings in the whole city of Detroit. We're going to make it good no matter what. Okay, and the production,
absolutely,
and the production on this show is probably better than, you know, the average podcast or, you know, conversation, because of the fact that we do have some background in it, and because we have background in it, we're going to naturally make a show that's naturally a little bit better. And, you know, the next step is always, where do you want to take it from here? Do you want to make it a bigger thing, or do you not want to make it? But if you try to make it a bigger thing, it's like the likes, you know, trying to get likes is detrimental to your soul. It really is. In a lot of ways, that because of the ways that you have to go about doing it and the things you have to do in order to go about making yourself seem like you're popular. You have to post a lot of times during the course of the day and everything. I'm not going to do that. You know, who has time to do that shit all day? You have to, you know, consistently, like, promote your shows. You have to consistently look for topics that are controversial in order to, like, you know, drive your traffic. You've got to say the wildest, craziest things in order to drive your traffic. We just say that I don't want to do that show. I want to do this show that we've been doing where we just come in. Y'all already crazy fuck enough. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole beauty of this show, is that, you know, everyone that comes here, you know, everyone that has been handpicked to be on this show has a point of view where they come out and they express that point of view. And to me, it's just like, whether it's good or bad, we've all said things that you would go, ugh, like, at different times and everything. But that's what makes it real. That's what makes it authentic. We're not moving towards more authentic shows and interactions in the world. It seems like we're like moving towards like authenticity, and everyone else is swimming towards the sea of, what happened in 1996. To keep it, this person is finally getting their comeuppance. None of the shit that's really good for us, aesthetically, personally, none of it's going into that pot and that pie anymore. And I just don't, I'm not here for it. I'm not. There's young people that want to tell me different things about, like, what's going on with a life that I've led, and that's what a lot of this stuff is. They say, okay, well, we're just free. We just say what the fuck we want. Nah, y'all just be running off at the fucking mouth. Y'all be talking about shit you have no clue about. You don't have any understanding. Instead of like, humbling yourself and getting that understanding from a place of, from a place where you can actually take in the information and everything, it comes out, y'all come up with this confrontational bullshit. Like, somebody from our generation is going to take it. Most people in our generation that are still like, in shape or have their wits about them will tell you, like, fuck you, and like walk away, or fuck off, motherfucker.
Right.
No time for your little shit. We ain't even thinking about you past the question. No, I don't know what his problem was. He don't got no problem. He fucking turned around and walked away from your ass. We don't give a fuck what you wondering about. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Like, seriously. But we are in this age where we get these dumb questions, and they're never going to get the answers because they are more like Puff than we are. They don't understand that these people that they grew up watching and idolizing are caricatures. They're not meant to be emulated. But I don't get it, bro.
I think that they emulate people. They try to mimic these people because they want what they have, and that's the only reason, right? It's not a true. It's not the true person that they trying to mimic. It's
the lifestyle,
what the person has.
Right.
It's the lifestyle. Exactly.
Nobody wants to be original anymore. Nobody wants to be themselves.
Original is hard, man. But if there's a shortcut to getting on a private jet, everybody's taking that pill.
But bro, then they end up with these conscience problems where they say, I don't know who the fuck I am right now, and this and that, because you're not trying to be yourself. You're trying to be somebody else. I don't get it. It's like, it's like the oxymorons, dichotomies. It's just like they're all over the place. It's like almost as if you're not two sides of the same coin and everything, then you're not complete anymore. You have to actually be fucking wishy-washy. So that way everyone can see you as being wishy-washy, which makes you okay because you're just like them.
But that's, going back to the 85s, like that's most people, we're all conditioned. The American education system is conditioning you to be a part in the machine. Parts and machines don't dream about becoming the machine. They just dream about an easier way of being an easier role in the machine.
Right.
So they're not trying to be original. They're just trying to get an easier role. They want to. Who don't want to ride on a private jet? Who don't want to stay in the Four Seasons? Who don't want to go to Ritz-Carlton? Who don't want to go on a yacht? Like, who don't want to go to St. Bart's between Christmas and New Year's?
Yeah, you can't.
Like, everybody wants that lifestyle.
But the chances that you're going to get that, but you can get a vacation. It's just like people have all these different, like, weird. It's just, like weird energy thoughts. This show is just going to end up me ranting. for like a long period of time. I can see that. Yeah.
It's gonna end up. I think that's where you're right on target. Like you were flying it right there.
I'll tell you what. Then don't stop my black ass now. Then let me just keep it moving. I saw something online this week where this chick was asking about relationships and why black men don't date. Or only how they could date outside of their race, and it must be something with them and everything. But here's a woman who's spending her time, instead of going out and trying to find a black man, worrying about what other people are doing in their bedrooms. That's the first thing. Then I saw something else about someone who was saying that black people who are from the suburbs they have no right to complain about everything because they've had it quote unquote easy and everything. So once they get past that point, they should have no problems whatsoever because we've had it easy and everything. Obviously, you've never lived that lifestyle. I've never met one person from the city who came out and moved to Long Island and everything, and didn't have to make an adjustment in a way that they were thinking and moving about their shit, and didn't.
Part of the problem when we were growing up on Long Island is that not enough people made the adjustment, and you had all these kids who had all the freedom in the world in New York City. Like you could walk out the front door, and in 5 minutes you could be on a train, and you could be someplace else. And those parents worked in the city, and so those kids were left alone all day. And the motherfuckers were bored, and they wreaked havoc on the streets of towns like Brentwood, Wyandanch, Central Islip.
Right.
Like trying to emulate the brothers in the projects, coming out to Long Island, and now everything became about how hard you were, how authentically street you were. Like, motherfucker, it should have been about how nice it is to have the ability to sleep in your fucking backyard if that's what you choose to do.
And and that's cool, and I understand that about wanting to appear to be a certain way, but it just struck me that when people talk about you've never gangbanged, you've never done this and that and this, it's like these motherfuckers are really making an issue about black people who have not actively hated on other black people. What the fuck? What the fuck are you talking about? Because I don't want to kill a black person on sight, I'm fucking weak? That's the opposite of weakness, B. That's stupid. That's stupid and weak. You're cutting your numbers in fucking half. Who thinks that this is logical? That's really my fucking question. Who thinks that shit is logical? I thought about that for a second. I was like, wait a minute. These niggas is actually fucking celebrating killing other niggas for no reason and saying that if you don't do that, you can't be down with us. You're not going to go on to the to the next level of black greatness and everything. Where they have fucking what? Firefights? At fucking noon? What the fuck are you talking about? What do you want? Seriously, what type of life do you want? What type of existence do you want? What type of things are you fucking actually it can't be the two things. The two things can't go together. And I'm telling you this as a 50-something-year-old man who has, lived in the fucking ghettos and lived in the fucking, white neighborhoods as well. And everything. With no money and everything. And with money. And done whatever the fuck it is. I just want to know, what the fuck is it that you want? You know what I'm saying? From other people. For you to stop hating them. And then the answer just came to me. It's it's not something that they want. It's the fucking mirror. It's the mirror. Motherfuckers hate themselves.
Yes, sir. Now you're on to something. You've been conditioned to hate yourself. That's the thing. You know what I mean? There is no musically, right? There are no KRS-Ones out there anymore. No Public Enemies. You know, I mean, every now and then somebody will drop a jewel, you know, in terms of something like pro-black kind of deal. But I mean, we had like Poor Righteous Teachers, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you had Rakim, all of these dudes that was making music that was designed to lift us up, or at least attempt to in their own way to lift us up. Everything now is designed to tear us down.
Well, you know, Lear Cohen says that his family would be like starving if he would have put more of those artists out today, if he would have pushed that. And, you know, that's the biggest bunch of bullshit because, you know, to provide context for that period of time, those artists were selling and they just didn't like those messages that were going out there. They couldn't control those messages. It's not as if they were less money. And those budgets, when you know people in the business, you hear what happens with the budgets. You know, when all of a sudden this artist, their budget goes from $100,000 to $25,000 over the stroke of a pen. Mm-hmm. So don't give me that bullshit. You know, my problem is that we didn't used to just like take that shit standing down. We go and we throw speakers out on the streets and have a block party and work it out amongst ourselves and still figure out a way to get finance. Now, the only way to get that finance is through these motherfuckers. Because, like, you know, I don't know if it's their fault. I don't know if it's our fault for not teaching our kids better.
Well, see, now you don't even need their financing because there are so many outlets to get out. Like, you know, once upon a time, if you wanted to make a record, well, shit, the mixing board alone was $500,000. The console alone was $500,000. You needed somebody who had access to that kind of capital. Now, you can mix a song on your phone on GarageBand, man.
Yeah,
you know, the thing that you carrying around in your pocket every day will allow you to make a record, and you can distribute it on your own. Now, it's not hugely profitable, and nobody's going to give you an advance. Nobody's going to write you a check and say thank you, and we'll figure out the rest later with you getting the short end of the stick. But, you know, it's easier now than ever to get out. But we've already been so conditioned that this is what the people want.
Well, we've already discussed like what the trick is. Like, you can get out and you can make a record. You can make an album that sells like, you know, 400 million, has 400 million sales digitally, and make about $2,000 on it, and you still got to get out there and you've got to tour in order to make your money. And the other side of that is, beyond touring, is that the other way you make money is through commercial advertisements and promotions. And in order to pay those promotions, now you're getting into that whole watch your mouth shit. That whole crowd that is backing that makes the decision one way or the other whether or not this person is famous today or this person is famous tomorrow. So it's like the control of the music is almost utterly complete. It's almost complete because there is no underground. And the people that should be supporting the underground, black people, are too busy worrying about knocking people who have come before them and like cheering for their downfalls. I'm not saying that Puff doesn't deserve everything that he has coming to. There's plenty of people that understand that he does. The same way R. Kelly deserved exactly what was coming to him and everything. All these people get it, but it's like, I just question the fact that these people that always get it are always people that look like us. You know, Lear Cohen. You mean to tell me Lear Cohen's never disrespected and treated a woman incorrectly, forced his influence, made his sexual advancements on? And I'm not saying this. I have to say this, you know, understanding that I'm not knowledgeable of any crimes that he may have committed against anybody at any point in time. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the likelihood that someone like him had taken advantage. Where do you think Puff learned it from? Who do you think he watched? Who do you think Russell watched? You know, why are we so big on trying to kill these things while they're killing our voting rights at the same time? They're taking our voting rights at the same time. It's just like I think people are just really, really dumb. I don't know what are we doing here? Are we just like, documenting and like pinpointing the downfall of society as it happens week after week? Watching us as we get weaker and weaker. People get more and more cowardly by the second, afraid to speak their minds about the injustices that they see right in front of their fucking faces. Is this what we're doing now as a society, or are we just two-faced all the goddamn time? I'm sorry, I'm cursing a lot and everything, but it's just, man, I'm just like, fuck it. The John Rand Show.
We got to get you some grape jelly or something, man, something to put your mind at ease.
B, I had a lot Rob, I had a lot of stuff on my mind. I was going to go on wisdom, and I was going to talk, and I was going to just rant and get it all out and everything, and I just never got there. Never got there. It's like, work stuff has popped up, which is good, as we all know, and everything. It's popped up there, and it's like, but it's just like I haven't had a chance to really get out what I really wanted to say. And what I really want to say is like, ugh. Like, people are disgusting me right now. I don't know if I want to get deeper into this shit. I don't want to get deeper into this morass. I want to continue to do our show. I don't care if we grow and everything. And I don't even care if we get an advertiser. But as soon as the advertiser, if I got an advertiser for the show and they told me that they were going to pull their ad for whatever, I don't even want to hear your fucking reason. Fuck you, thank you, and everything.
I see now, but you gotta, like, I don't know if it's fucking, hey, you want to pull it, but everybody's got a right to sort of attach their name to whatever they think is, whatever works in their community.
God bless them.
So if there's something that we're saying that suddenly doesn't work in their community, all right, that's cool. Doesn't work in your community, but it doesn't have to be a fuck 'em. Just could be, all right.
Nah,
it was nice that we got to spend some quality time together, and as I heard a Texan once say, "I'll see you around the bend in the road."
Hey, it's not a New York fuck you, like fuck you. It's a New York, hey, fuck you, man. All right, see you later. It's that fuck you. There's different fuck yous.
The nuances of fuck you.
Well, in New York, that's a thing,
right?
Because there are 90 different fuck yous in New York.
We all know it. We could go through them right now if we had to. But we won't, because guess what? We're coming
What
to
the fuck?
End. What the fuck? Right, exactly.
Fuck. Fucking A. Like fucking A. Like fucking A. Fucking A. Fucking A.
Fucking A. Fucking A.
Like an hour already? Fucking A.
Yeah, there's many different ways. It's the dichotomy of the fuck. So, from New Jersey, before I tell everybody like good night and everything, big shout out to Reggie Reg. Big shout out to
yes sir. What up? What?
Big shout out to Gene Hop. I'm gonna have to track you down. We don't even know where the Gene is. Is Gene one of us now? Is Gene still one of us? Why can't I?
Yeah.
I just have to call him. Out.
He's probably cleaning up after the holiday, man. Gene, he got lots of family and stuff.
Yeah.
I gotta always mess with Gene. It's because I miss you, bro.
He's got a wife. He's got to keep some peace with.
Yeah, I miss you, big homie, Gene Hopkins. Reggie.
I wonder if he did a vegan Thanksgiving. I know he ate something the other day at his sister-in-law's house that didn't agree with him.
He's been losing.
Yeah,
yeah.
He said.
Yeah, he said something.
If you've gone a while without dairy, and you reintroduce it into your system, and you are lactose intolerant, like most of us are, woo! That is an unpleasant evening right there.
Well, bro, I'm gonna go eat me some casserole, and it's got some cheese.
You can do that, homie. I had some lasagna earlier. I had the rest of my lasagna earlier. I finished my lasagna this afternoon or this evening.
Hey, I'm gonna get close to where you guys are. You know, one of the only things I did move out of my unit was my little workout stuff. I got my bench and my weights behind me there, and I got my bike in the other room. I'm just making the space for it right now.
Gene's under $2 now. Gene's under $2.
I don't know if I can.
You got to catch him. You have to start running.
Can have that.
Yeah,
he can have under $2.
I don't want to get to under $2. I would like to. Ideally, for me, I'd like to get between like 215 and 220. Like that was like my favorite weight in my life when I was like 217. You know, I would love to see if I can get back down there again. But it's been a number of years, you know, and I'm not fat. Just thick. Mostly muscle. Shut up, Rob. Anyway.
I'm just, I'm pretty sure I heard someone on the subway the other day saying exactly the same thing. She ain't fat, she thick. But I'm pretty sure that, an Eskimo walking along the shore with a spear in his hand
might have took a shot.
Taking a shot. I've been peeling some of that fat back.
Yeah, that's not me, Rob. You know that. I am a fit dude, but I guess I.
But you said you would eat whale blubber.
Yeah.
She's gonna eat whale. She's gonna eat blubber as soon as our Free Willy.
And on that note, from Detroit, Michigan, we're going to start with you. The City Wing King, home of City Wings.
2896 West Grand Boulevard, Detroit, Michigan. Come down and get you some.
Can you fry chicken wings and blubber?
Fried chicken wings and blubber. Mr. Grant Lancaster. And across from New Jersey, home of New Jersey.
Home of lots of delicious vegan treats. I'm actually making a run to a vegan bakery tomorrow.
Vegan bakeries.
Gonna load up.
Mr. Robert Brooks.
Aloha.
Hey, listen, I hope I didn't offend anybody today. Because if I did, your sensitive ass probably can't afford a therapist, and you're listening to my show in order to do that, so it's going to probably travel with you for the entire week. And I'm sorry for that right now. But on that note, Born in Trouble. Peace.
Peace.
Bye, John.